Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the combined reorganization and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council. The meeting has been called to order. Happy New Year to all of you that I have not seen before, and let us hope it is a good and healthy year for all of us. Would we all please rise as we honor our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before the clerk begins our roll call, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome Commissioner Leslie Koppel, who is a former member of this body and is a member of the Middlesex County Board of Commissioners and has joined us this evening. So welcome, Commissioner. It is good to see you. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Charles DePiero.
Here.
Councilman Michael Markell.
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel.
Here.
Council Vice President Terrence Van Zora.
Absent.
Let the record show that Council Vice President Van Zora is absent this evening. And Council President Miriam Cohen.
President, would you please read the Sunshine Law into the record?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1. Posted on the bulletin boards within the municipal building on December 27, 2024, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2. Printed in the Home News Tribune and the Cranberry Press on December 27, 2024. 3. Posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4. Sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the Council President.
Thank you. There are 2 proclamations that were issued. One was the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is January 27th of 2025. And this additionally is Muslim Heritage Month, again for January 2025. There are 2 ordinances for introduction at our regular meeting, which for those who have not been here before follows this agenda session. 01-2025-001, Supervisory Personnel 2025 Salary and Wage Ordinance for Monroe Township, Middlesex County. 01-2025-002, Ordinance authorizing the recording of easements for municipal purposes on various municipal-owned parcels. Item 7 is the resolutions for consideration under our consent agenda at the January 6, 2025 meeting. Resolutions R1-2025-001 through R1-2025-028. Any members of the council have resolutions they would like removed from this consent agenda? Councilman DePiero.
Yes, thank you. R1-2025-004, R1-2025-007, R1-2025-008, R1-2025-025.
Anyone else have any? That's the sum, sir?
That's it.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
good.
Thank you. We're good.
Anyone else have anything that they wish removed from the consent agenda? Very good, thank you.
4.
Moving right along, we will move to item 8, which is the public comment section. This comment section is limited to the agenda items only. May I have a motion to open the public comment section, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any residents here this evening who would like to address the council, please come forward stating your name and address.
Is that for the open?
No.
Okay, that's just.
You gotta wait.
Excuse me. You got room. Good evening.
Good evening.
George Kunkelman, 5 Killicourt, Monroe.
Yes.
item in the consent agenda, 001, resolution approving a 2025 cash management plan. That would seem to be kind of a big deal to be handled in one line. When are we going to see what that is?
Mr. Weinberg.
That's our participation in the state cash management plan, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's just our, we validate every year our participation in the state cash management plan. It's where our money is invested.
Okay. And then 002, what is that? What is the temporary budget?
So the temporary budget, Mr. Gunkelman, is at the beginning of the year, because we haven't adopted our permanent budget. We essentially adopt a budget that is it's a third of what the budget was, a quarter of what the budget was the year before, right? At 3 months worth, plus all of the capital, our bond payments essentially that we have to make. So we do that now, and then we adopt a permanent budget when we adopt a permanent budget. So we do that every year.
Okay.
Next.
Item 011, what is the Public Officers Board and what are their duties?
I'm missing.
No, I think that's to various boards. So it's, hold on a second, I'll
I
pull it
can't
up for you
see
and I'll
in
tell you
front of me
what
where
it
it
are,
is.
what it is.
Where is it? I'm missing it. Oh,
I have to tell you, I'm stumped. I don't know what it is.
Mr. Weinberg knows.
Sure. So my understanding, and I don't think it's been used much, is when there's a house, a facility that we want to look at and I believe condemn, that the group gets together and besides the construction code official who can condemn any building, this group can get together and look at a building and decide whether it's sort of suitable to continue to operate. Of course, some of those powers rest with the building construction official himself or herself in their role with state powers. There's also this group of people that can get together and look at buildings within the town to say whether they're fit or unfit to be utilized within the town. That's the Public Officers Board, per the code.
See? We
See?
learn something new every day.
Every day you learn
You
something
stumped
new,
me.
Mr. Gunkelman.
And I learned something new.
That's why we come to these
Evening's
meetings.
young.
That's true.
016, is there a limit to that authorization that's identified in 016? Up to, or is it unlimited?
Please, we just talked about it. Yes.
And on whose advice?
Go ahead, Mr.
Council
Weinberg,
President,
please.
so I don't believe we've used this in the last couple of years.
haven't.
It's something that we put on each year that allows for us to move forward on this. In the past, we've generally done surplus property through the Department of Public Works, which allows the Department of Public Works and sometimes the police department to get federal surplus equipment, or in some cases, state surplus equipment. And we've gotten a variety of old military and federal surplus equipment, which has served us well. Some of the larger trucks that you've seen around our community from time to time, we've gotten. We don't do this regularly, but if there is a piece of equipment that either the DPW director or the chief sees that could benefit us long term, we have on occasion done that. And in some cases, we've used it for decades. In other cases, at the end, we've sold it and we get to keep the proceeds. Just recently, we gave a truck that we've had for decades over to Fire District 1, but it is not something that we have abused in terms of having a large group of machinery from there, but it has helped us with some particularly high water vehicles that we've used in floods and other things.
No
and
cost?
It's a good program.
No
It's
cost
no
to-
cost to us.
No cost to the
No cost
taxpayers.
to the taxpayer.
So we're accepting,
It's generally
Accepting a
trucks.
gift.
Well, after we own them, they get expensive.
Yeah, correct.
other than that.
To maintain.
Yes. 026, James Monroe Park. Was there an engineer's estimate from this? Because my memory of previous discussions was a number considerably lower than that. And I'm not too sure how it went from the the original engineer's estimate to this number?
Do you, Mark?
Council President?
Sorry. Yes, please, because we're on the end of his time, too, so.
So right off the bat, the engineer's estimate is just what it says. It's an estimate. It really has no bearing on the numbers that came in. This bid, there were 77 items in the bid contract. Several of the items were lump sum items. So as you know, when you get into a lump sum for particular items, those prices can vary. However, we received 6 bids. All 6 bids were pretty much in line with the lowest bid, $2,037,000 and change, and they ranged up to $2.7 million. So the 6 bids that we received were quite consistent with their pricing, with a small range of increases from the first bid to the second bid was about 5% and another 5% to the next bidder. So that's really the market based on these bids. I'm comfortable with what we received, that is what this market entails. Our original pricing goes back about 2 years ago. We've been working on this project for about 2.5 years. So those numbers, go back about 2 years ago.
What was the original engineer's estimate?
And then I'll close you up for this piece.
Well,
Finish your
it was an estimate.
It was an estimate of $1,528,000.
Okay,
Your time is,
thank you. Now,
And I'm sorry, and I just to point out that engineer's estimate is not something that's shared with the bidders prior to the bid. It only comes out after, so that's not public record before the bid. Thank you.
we've talked here about work out at that park before that's different from this. What's the status of all of that? There was an expansion talked about
yes,
here,
yes,
I believe.
please.
Council President, so, as far as this building, this is, we're replacing the existing concession stand and restrooms. It's getting a new building, concession stand, ADA compliant restrooms are part of it. There's several site improvements going on to the site. There's a commercial septic system that will handle this building and any additional improvements or buildings that come to that site. There's also grease traps that are part of that septic system. New water service, a new well. Right now, the existing well dries out. As, it runs out of water when they're playing ball out there. And there's site improvements to make the walking paths ADA compliant in the area of the new concession stand.
Can we save any further questions since you're out of time, because this will appear on the regular agenda, the regular meeting as well, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments or questions to bring before us now? Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion to close the public comment section.
Motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Second on the motion.
Second.
You need to roll call this?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned at,
6:44.
until I turn the... We will now move to the regular meeting of the Township Council. The regular meeting is now called to order. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. The ordinance for first reading at this meeting is 01-2025-001. Supervisory Personnel 2025 Salary and Wage Ordinance for Monroe Township, Middlesex County. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 01-2025-002, an ordinance authorizing the recording of easements for municipal purposes on various municipal-owned parcels. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We now move to item 3, the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda. Would you please read out what is exempted from this?
Resolutions R1 2025-001 through R1 2025-028, with the exception of Resolution R1 2025-004, 007, 008, and 025, which will be considered separately.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 4, resolutions removed from consent agenda for consideration.
Resolution R1 2025-004, 007, 008, and 025.
Motion.
Motion.
Thank you. Second. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will move to our reports, moving with alacrity through this.
Thank you, Council
Mr.
President.
Weinberg.
I'll be somewhat brief. First, just want to thank our DPW and all our departments that are certainly working together during this, what is a very modest snowstorm, but at times difficult, even when you just get an inch or two of snow. It can be challenging because with the temperatures this low, you have to deal with the possibility of roads freezing, and so there's a lot of salting going on as we speak now. Our road crews will be doing that throughout the night. We have a lot of roads, we have a lot of salting going on, and there's always the concern of black ice, and there's possibility of some additional snow happening later on this evening. So we'll continue to focus on that. So hats off to our DPW and other workers who are braving that. Always hats off to the workers who have to work outside. There's some extremely cold weather that all our residents have been facing this past couple of days and over the coming weeks. And so to all our workers who work outside, both here at the township and others, hats off to those men and women who have to work outside, our utility workers and others who have to brave that cold. So we appreciate it. Do want to do a quick thank you to the mayor and council. We worked really hard over a period of time to get the improvements, and it really is a major park upgrade for James Monroe Park, one of our oldest parks. These improvements, whether they be ADA, whether they be fixing a much-needed septic system and well and electrical upgrades, and really ADA improvements that are needed for some of the programs that we run there, and the state-of-the-art bathrooms, which we're trying to bring to every park, as well as updated concessions, sort of much needed for the coming decades of that park, and I think it's really, really exciting to move forward on that. So that's my report, Council President.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much. Mr. Asmoth.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be brief as well. Just a couple updates on 2 projects, the Garvey's demolition, the removal of the 2 underground storage tanks. The contractor is receiving his construction permits this week, and he'll be scheduling the tank removals, hopefully, weather permitting, next week. With regard to the police station building, I'm happy to report that the delivery of roof trusses has arrived. We'll be getting the second delivery of trusses tomorrow, and the contractor will be scheduling getting those roof trusses in place. And it's a pretty big milestone. Once the trusses are in place, they can get the roof on the building and they can close it in, and then they can work through the rest of the winter inside. So that's my report.
Thank you very much. We'll move to council reports. Our Ward 1 councilman, please.
Briefly, today's a 4-year anniversary. Today's a 4-year anniversary of January 6th. Kind of a sad day in American history. I just think we should remember the 2 police officers that died that day. It's very important not to let them die for absolutely nothing. Jeffrey Smith and Howard Ledengood should be remembered, and I just want to put that in the record that these two men died protecting our country. On a happier note, I read a article that stated that New Jersey is the third happiest state in the United States. I'm happy. I hope everybody here is happy. I understand that if you want to know the two states that are happier than us, one I understand, it's Hawaii. But, I'll be darned if I know why Maryland's happier than us, but Maryland's happy also. But, and lastly, I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year, healthy new year. I watched the ball drop. I'm too old to be out drinking. My wife won't let me. So I was home watching the ball drop, and a few years ago, when I was in Times Square, it's one of the greatest experiences you'd ever want to have if you've never done it. And what struck me this year especially with with the vision of this country and the animosity between people, it's very sad. I watched the people hugging and kissing from all places in the world. I mean, no one was
Nice fun.
Mexican, no one was American, no one was Democrat, no one was Republican, everybody was celebrating. I'm getting chills just talking about it. It was beautiful. So I think that's what we have to think about this year coming, and make this a better year than ever. And just Happy New Year, healthy New Year. Thank you very much.
Nice, thank you. Councilwoman Siegel, please.
Thank you, Council President. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope everyone had a nice holiday season. So just a couple items. I know it's been really nice over the last couple weeks celebrating the holidays with the whole community. I know we've had tree lightings and menorah lightings, so it's really been nice to see so many people out there and gathering together to celebrate the holidays, with Kwanzaa and all the other holidays that follow. One of the events that we attended, or some of us from the council attended, was the Leonid Foundation holiday event. Leonid is the Ukrainian, there are two residents who started up this Ukrainian organization at the start of the Ukrainian war, and they held an event for their refugees, a holiday celebration. And they had over 200 refugees from throughout the state come to this event. And it's been amazing to see the efforts. They not only help local refugees or throughout the state, they're almost worldwide, and they help many around the state. And you'll see a lot of times people are making donations from all over the place. So it's an honor to know them. They are amazing residents of our township who work so hard every day impacting lives. So it was really moving to be part of this event and see all the people and how they've touched their lives and helping them. The other thing I wanted to just mention, I saw the other day there's a community safety tips presented by our police department. It's going to be happening on Thursday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the library. If you've never attended one of these sessions, they're so informative, and there's always something you learn from it. They discuss current crime trends, scams, and ways to keep yourself safe. So it's a great session. I highly encourage everyone to mark it on your calendars. And it's winter, it's cold, there's so many events at our library. Please check them out. They have so many things, a little bit of everything for everyone. So please check out the library events. Thank you.
Welcome. And you know, Anna and Edward, when they started that foundation, they started in the basement of their house. This young couple living in town with 2 young children and jobs and the rest of the busy lives we had. And they started that in the basement of their house. And so when you read what they've been able to accomplish, it's pretty awe-inspiring. And it was...
Can I just add one thing to that? Sure. They've sent over 70 tons of aid to Ukraine, their organization, 70 tons, just to tell you how successful they are.
And I bet you they still have their own jobs. It was pretty impressive folks that live here. Councilman DePiero, your turn.
Thank you. I just wanted to wish everyone happy and healthy new year. Hopefully it will be a good year for all of us. A lot of us attended the largest menorah in New Jersey. The lighting, the weather was amazing. The crowd was happy, even though they had hot chocolate and it was 55 degrees. It was a nice warm event, and a lot of people came. Out on that day. Just wanted to say Rabbi Z and his organization did a great job, and also the police and also Station 51 who helped put our mayor in the bucket, as always, and it was really nice with the rabbi. Thank you. I know you. It was really nice, and it was a pleasure being there. I had a question about the rec center, the flashing lights on the curbing for the crosswalk. I know we have that right here at the high school. Do we have any idea when we can get that completed?
Look right to your right.
Council President, I did receive quotes. I did send a recommendation out Friday, so I would anticipate it being on the next council meeting for award.
Okay, that's good to get the safety, because a lot of people use that cross for the school parking lot at the rec center, and something that we need the beacon lights working there, and we definitely have flashing lights would help our residents get across safely. Affordable housing. I had a question for Lou. Maybe, I hope I don't stump you on this one, but how does the state calculate
Oh, he loves this
what
question.
our next round number is going to be? Because I know January 29th is going to be a meeting for affordable housing. How do they actually calculate that rate? Do you know?
Well, the state law,
I think your mic's off.
You want
the state law that took effect last year actually just memorializes the decision that was made by Judge Jacobson in the last round. So it is just using the same calculation that was done in the last round. It's a pretty complicated formula, but that's all that the state did this time.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the formula, so I just had a couple questions in reference to, like, is it based on the amount of homes that we approve? Example, like adult community homes?
No.
Is it that gives the amount of affordable homes that we have to build?
No, it's
So
not.
how
It's
does
not
it
strict.
actually-
It's not. Well, and once again, the formula has got 9 different parts to it, and I'm not sure that I could, without it in front of me, could recite it to you. But it is based upon estimates. It's generally based upon an estimate. Councilman, is they look at what the median income is in the state, which is about $99,000.
Okay.
They consider anybody that's 20% below that to be low or actually moderate, and then it steps down there to low. So then they take a look at all of the households in the state, 2.3 million households, I think, is how many households there are in the state. And they make a determination as to how many of those households hold people that are that have median income. And right now, I think that in New Jersey, that's about 69% of the state is at median income or below. And then they calculate a number below that. And then they calculate how many units are available, and they project growth into the next 10-year period. That's generally how it's done. I can say there's a couple of pretty good summaries on how it's done that I can send to you.
If you can help all of us out
Right.
to understand it a little
Sure.
better, because it seems to be our next hurdle that we're all going to be dealing with, and if you can shine some light on.
Right. So, and that just establishes the need. So, the next part of the process, which is what everybody anticipated would happen, which is now trying to calculate what the really available vacant land is, that and then to support the numbers. And that's why, at the last couple of meetings, people have come up and said, well, I read that the state assigned us a number. Well, the state generally determined a number. It's not assigned to us. It was based upon a state report. But it's now for us to review each and every parcel in town and make some practical judgments as to what it is. And that's what will happen on the 29th.
And each community is different. I mean, some communities get 0, and some communities get a lot, correct?
Well, the answer is there are 45 or so urban municipalities who get urban aid who get 0, but some do get 0 and some don't. It's some of it is based upon the socioeconomic strata of your municipality.
Right, because years ago, when I remember this first coming, and I used to sit in the meetings as Council President said before, when Leslie was sitting up here, years ago, we would trade or give our credits to someone else in another community and for affordable housing, and there was money exchange or there was other things that were done. And now it's my question, and I'm glad that if you can shine some light on it, if you can help us to understand it a little bit better.
Sure.
And that formula.
And those were regional contribution agreements, and they were done in they weren't done in the first round because the first round of Mount Laurel was done all in the courts. But the second round of Mount Laurel was done under the auspices of COA, the Council on Affordable Housing.
Right.
And they were taken out of the law before the third round started. So while there were some people who may have gotten credits in the third round for regional contributions that were done before the law was changed, they basically have not been part of the law for something like 25 years. And I think, it comes down to what's the constitutional obligation for everybody in the state to have affordable housing, not just urban centers.
All right, thank you.
Bless you.
On Dye Farm project, do we have any updates on the still house structure that's sitting there that they were talking about hopefully rebuilding this year? Do we have any updates on the architect and the costs?
I don't have any update, sorry. I don't have any updates on that. I can follow up with the Historic Commission to see if there's been any discussion related to that. I know we did have some discussion with asked the Historic Commission to look at and Center State to look at doing some parking in that area.
Yeah,
as
parking,
we discussed
and
previously,
and
but
they
I don't know
talked
about any plans for the still house, so I can look into that.
All right, or possibly a grant, if we can get some kind of grant to help us out along there, that'd be great. I also sent the volunteer program a couple times that Marlboro and a few other towns have. I don't know if you have any updates on that for the volunteers that we have in our community.
Yeah, I haven't connected yet with the Marlboro business administrator to ask him how that's going over there. It's a little bit different. I had some questions about it because they prioritize volunteers and they have a lower discount for veterans. So I wanted to ask him some questions about how that's working out. So I'll ask him.
Get us some updates on that, that'd be good. Spotswood, Englishtown Road, the snowflakes, on the streetlights and the telephone poles. I just wanted to say thank you to DPW and Station 51 that work every year to get that out there in the community. I just wanted to say thank you. I noticed that Joe's not here tonight, but maybe you could find out. Matchaponics got paved. It was kind of cold. The seams are kind of rough over there, and I'm not sure if Joe had anybody check the manholes, all the valves for the hydrants, and to make sure that everything is still working. And I know that Mark and I talked about I guess the quality of the paving was kind of cold when they did it, but maybe we'll see how it works out. But I just wanted to make sure that the manholes are straightened out and there's no valves that are paved over or not working. So that's all I have.
I can
Thank
ask
you.
Joe to follow up with you. Yeah.
It's a pleasure having our mayor with us. Do you have a report for us this evening?
Thank you, Madam Council President. I will be brief in my remarks tonight. Obviously, a Happy New Year to all. I'm glad Councilman DePiero likes the snowflakes up there. Perhaps I will go in the bucket and I will put them up and take them. That's my calling, Councilman. That's my calling. On a sad note, the flags of our township are at half-staff of recognition of the passing of President Jimmy Carter. So certainly thoughts and prayers with the Carter family and the memories of Jimmy Carter and what he did while he was president. But more importantly, I think what he did after his term as president was very remarkable. Just a reminder that Valor Point is now leasing. Offices are located at 1 Rossmore Drive, and we are doing a heavy blitz with our veterans organizations to get the information out in regards to the benefits for Valor Point. Finishing up the holiday season was an exciting time for all of us. Besides going in a bucket for the menorah lighting, we had our own Monroe Township community menorah lighting at our senior center, which was well attended. and I did have the honor of dressing as Santa Claus and delivered good cheer and caroling to the Rossmore community. Nancy Fichtelberg, who does the soup for seniors, had asked me to go out. And, just one anecdotal story, which I always like to tell stories. I went up to this one woman, and after the Girl Scouts were there, they sang the song, and I had a little bag of cookies, and I gave it to her, and she whispered into my ear, she goes, "I know who you really are." And I said, "I'm Santa." And she goes, "Oh, no, you're dressed as Santa, but I know you're the mayor." And I'm like, well, yes, I am. Sometimes that's a loaded question, when they ask that. But then she says, "You're the one who made the delicious Kobas soup 2 months ago." And for me, that was the most exciting and most wonderful thing I ever heard, that I toiled over this soup 2 months ago. I made about 57 containers of soup, and it was my mom's recipe. So as a proud son, I went back to my mom. I'm like, "Hey, Mom, your Kobas recipe, everyone loved it." So it was all good. So just moving on, Councilwoman Siegel had mentioned about the police and safety meeting. This is a wonderful informational session that we've been doing for a couple years now. This is the first time we're doing it in our library, which will be held on February 13th. And I just do want to recognize our police, our township, and our emergency services. Money Geek, using FBI data, ranked Monroe the 5th safest small town in the U.S. So obviously we're all proud to be on a list like that. And again, the support that we can give our police to help fight crime. Again, it's difficult to have zero crime, but I know our police work real hard at it, and obviously we get recognized. It is the new year. Resolutions are made. They're usually for health, wealth, and well-being. The upcoming mayor's wellness events, both at the library, will be held. I'd like to bring this to your attention. On the 16th of January, Rutgers Health is presenting Addressing the Opioid Epidemic and Narcan Training. And for those of you who need a little bit of extra help in getting to that happy state, as Councilman Markell said, our meditation class will be on the 27th of January. I hope to see you there. For any information in regards to that, you can check out our website, monroetownship.com, and check out the calendar. Thank you so much, Madam Council President.
You are most welcome. We will now move to the public comment section of our meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
All in favor? No opposition? Those wishing to address the council, please come forward. You state your name and address for our record, please. The time limit is 5 minutes.
They made me do this. My name is Karen Chen. I live at 4 Ashley Court. So a group of us are here today to request more indoor pickleball courts. Currently, pickleball is very generously allocated 4 courts at the rec center from 9 to 1 every weekday from early September into mid-June. Although we are very grateful for these facilities, we are asking the court space be expanded and at no cost. As background, the rec center has 2 gyms. Both gyms have markings for 3 pickleball courts. One gym is outfitted with 3 courts, the other gym is currently outfitted with 1. Demand has skyrocketed due to pickleball being the fastest growing sport in the world. Pickleball is an easy sport to play and lends itself wonderfully to players of all ages. Due to the large senior citizen demographics of our town, pickleball is extremely popular during the day. Accordingly, we are outgrowing the space being provided. Currently, table tennis utilizes a portion of one gym from 10 to 12 each day. We do not in any way wish to displace or disrupt their court time. What we are requesting is that the other 2/3 of the gym that is mostly vacant be used for pickleball from 8:30 to 9:45 and then from 12 to 1 each day. The space is there and unutilized. The demand is there. The cost is 0 as the town already owns enough nets for this space. Granted, we are not a sanctioned organization, yet we are very organized and self-maintain our own playing rotations. We are mostly reasonable people, although like anything else, there are outliers. We appeal to the mayor and council to support us in our efforts and feel our request is very reasonable. We would also like to be included as part of the Recreation Advisory Board so that pickleball can be represented. In 2022, Mayor DeLina announced his commitment to enhancing the health and wellness of Monroe Township residents by initiating the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. Quoting Mayor DeLina, "Supporting the health and well-being of all Monroe's residents is very important to me. This initiative allows us to enjoy some exercise while spending time with community members. Pickleball at the Recreation Center accomplishes this and more." So to summarize, we are simply looking to expand pickleball into the unutilized space at zero cost for the time we are already there. Our second request is to be included as part of the Recreation Advisory Board so that we can have input into future decisions. Thank you for your time, and we hope to receive your support in this endeavor.
Anyone else wishing to come forward now? To address the council, please come forward again. And again, please state your name and address for our records.
I'm Shankar. You want to see your name?
Yeah, you can speak.
Yeah, so respected members of the council and mayor and all the people.
For our records, sir.
Shankar.
Name and address, please.
Shankar from 3612 Charleston Drive, Monroe Township, New Jersey. So we are we are the board members of the Villages at Country View community, a new community in Spotswood, Englishtown Road. So we have a problem in our community where the recycling comes and picks our recycled boxes. But unfortunately, what happens is because our community is a bit big with a lot of vacant space, the wind basically takes the bins out. It always trashes the entire thing over the entire community. And by the time they come and pick, it's basically a mess. And we are spending almost every time the recycling trucks, after that, there is a lot of trash littering around in our community, and we are spending money to pick the trash up. So what we are here for is, we went to the recycling department. Carolyn Barnard told us to come and tell our problems here in the council, because it seems like there will be a vendor process where there will be bids, and we will be selecting the vendor who will be picking it up. It will be great if we can have, instead of open bins for the recycling purposes, it will be great if we can have some closed lids or something like that, where even whatever we keep, even if it falls down, it doesn't basically litter the community, causing health concerns to all the kids in our community, and also a lot of money that we have to spend to pick up the trash after the recycling trucks come and picks up the trash from our community. So that's one of the concerns we have. And it will be great if during the vendor bidding process, it seems like the Middlesex County takes care of this one, and every township will have a voice there. It seems that's what Ms. Carolyn told us. So it'll be great if we can consider this problem when we are picking up the vendors for our township.
Mr. Weinberg, please. Thank you.
So I appreciate your point. So yes, we are one of probably 9 towns or so that utilize the Middlesex County Improvement Authority's shared services program recycling, where we are, like I said, I think it's about 9 different towns that utilize a shared services agreement for recycling. So I think that's coming out to bid probably for, county-wide in the next year. So Kevin will be happy to take your name and information down. And when it comes out, we won't have complete control of the process because the county will be the lead on it, bidding it for all. Again, I keep using the number 9, but it's about 9 or 10 towns that collectively bid it together to get a good price and it covers our whole town. Obviously, some communities in Monroe, some gated communities in Monroe, do their own recycling, and they get reimbursed at the rate that we pay for every other resident within the town. But we're happy to, take your suggestions and see how they do it. But once it's bid, the way they do it is how they do it for all Monroe residents and for all of the towns within the county. But we're happy to take that feedback and see if there's a cost-effective way to do that in a better way, and certainly understand the concern. So if you wouldn't mind giving Kevin your information or staying after, I'd be happy to talk to you about it a little bit more and make sure that we share that with the MCIA as they do their next round of bidding on that.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Respected Mayor and other council members, good evening and Happy New Year to each and everyone.
Your name and address for our record, please, sir.
We are in the same community. We are board members. A couple of issues are there in our community. Regarding the JCPL, we have the lights, a lot of poles issue and light issues. So we went a couple of times. They take my number, then they told call me back. They didn't keep going. Finally, they fixed most of the poles and electricity. Still some more is
Are the
there.
lights in your community out? You have many lights out?
Yeah, like street lights. Yeah, many lights in there.
Okay.
So finally, almost 6 months they going to their office, and finally they fix a little bit. Still some more issues there. Even my colleague is coordinating with the team, the JCPL team, but still.
You ran too quickly.
So he's coordinating with the JCPL team. Still, we didn't get any update from. You want to add any point?
Yeah, so basically the process is taking way longer than expected. So for almost 6 months now, we have started the process. We have talked, our property management has talked, our builder has talked. We still have lights that are not fixed in our community, and the process of actually even getting any status updates is very difficult with JCPL, and they are like, okay, we are backlogged and we will take time. This is the kind of response we are having, and we have small kids in our community, and they are walking down, and we have cars going on, and now parents are complaining that the HOA is not doing anything to take care of this. And when we try to even hire someone to come and fix, they told that it's JCPL property, you should not be touching the lights. So now we are basically on a standstill on what should we do to keep the community safe.
Do we not have a
Yeah,
meeting?
even a lot of people, homeowners, they complaining, they
We are
driving.
not-
When you see, go ahead.
I hesitate to interrupt, and I do not mean to do that, but the whole town is aware, as I see the mayor going for his
I know this is the
microphone.
public portion, but I
Oh,
will
he's
address
going to-
quickly the
yeah.
JCP&L. So you know that frustration, how you're feeling with the lights?
Need our
Yeah,
own.
welcome to our world.
No difference.
So all of us here, sitting up here, have dealt with JCP&L
Successfully.
township-wide, and it's very difficult. We have pushed them, we've taken them, we've brought in our state legislators, we've gone to their bosses, the BPU as well. They'll put out we'll complain a little bit, they'll come out and they'll do a little bit, and then they go away. So it just so happens that we are having a meeting with them on Thursday to further discuss this, and obviously we will certainly bring up your concerns as well, amongst everyone else in Monroe Township experiencing that. But yeah, it is extremely frustrating, but we are working at that, and that's the best I can give you right now. But yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your
Thank
answer.
you.
And
Thank
one
you.
more question is there. Same thing, JCPL. When our community villages county, the Buckleview, when you're turning the cars, there is no lights. It's very dark. When people turning there, definitely going to accident there because there is no light. We have houses, is there no lights? Very dark. Sometimes people go up of the house, close to a house. Maybe can you please consider that also for entire public safety? So I have two more issues. Can I?
President, what street is that? Is that outside your community?
Villages county be,
On Buccaloo?
Buccaloo and English Town, Spottstown.
Spotswood,
There was
English
actually
Town.
an accident also
Yeah.
a year
very
back.
dark, Mark.
We'll
the
take
same
a look at the
intersection.
street lighting out there, and if it warrants a street light,
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, but
exactly.
we'll
streetlights,
work
yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
But because too much dark. When you go there, definitely.
We will do our best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for
You're
your
most
answer.
welcome.
I have two more issues. If that okay?
Let's move.
Yeah. Please, one more is in my community, a lot of our homeowners are very scary about vandalism. We have multi-field is there. every summer they're coming like very big withdrawals, making a lot of sound, and also they break our wall also. They're coming in the our buildings, in front of the buildings. We reported a lot of time to the police department. So this is a very concern about everyone.
Dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes.
Can I repeat that, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're having motorcycles coming in, and they are not observing any speed limits
Yes.
of any
Yeah, speed
sort and
limits.
driving through the
Yes.
community?
Is this in the woods?
In the woods?
From the woods, they are coming on
They're
to
coming
our
even
place.
where we,
Dirt bikes.
And then they are just coming into our community using our multi-purpose field where the kids are playing.
Yep.
And they are also coming onto the roads.
roads also
And
in
there
front
is
of
no-
community.
The cops are asking for a license plate and they don't
But
have
they
any
don't have
license
license.
plate. So we are complaining to the cops. They are coming and giving us a slip saying that, okay, we listen to it, but we can't do anything. This has been an ongoing problem
Almost
for
2-3
us.
years this happening.
Well, we can
and
cer-
one more thing, they break the pinch also. We put some pinch with to talk to the builder. We put some wall little bit. They break that also.
And they lit-
sometimes they fire also.
Fire also. They lit the fire also.
They did fire also before breaking that.
You
So
check with
every
the
house
chief.
owner, they are very scared. Kids are there. Lot of kids, lot of families, lot of parents are there. So
check
this
with
is,
the chief.
can you please take care? We tried police. They come. We reported couple of times.
Yeah.
They need something to get the where these vehicles are taking rental. So these things, can you please take care? This one of the major thing I can say that because
We'll
people-
mention it to the police.
We will.
Candidly, sometimes, just candidly with the ATVs, if they go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the woods, it's very difficult for the police to chase
Yeah.
either dirt bikes or ATVs into the woods, just because they're in cars. And, it's challenging. They will try and get them on roads, but if they flee back into the forest, it's just candidly hard to get them. When they go back in, I mean, obviously, if they commit a crime while they'll chase them wherever they go. But if their crime is just riding a loud motorcycle, they're not going to go through the woods just to catch the motorcycle.
I want to add
you know.
that point because most of the parents, what they are telling to in the open meetings of our board meeting is, so do you expect one of the kid to actually get hurt before you can actually take an
Yeah,
action?
yeah, that's what
This is
every
a
woman,
question from a parent. I actually, as a board member, I don't know what to say to them.
Yeah.
We are telling, okay, we are going to cops. We are trying to build a fence. They are letting
But
on
we
fire.
will continue to do our best. It is a very difficult and sometimes intractable issue. We will try.
Yeah, even we
think.
put the signboards. This is a private property, not
We will
vendor.
try.
But still,
We will
and
try.
I don't know whether talk last one is there. It's okay.
Please,
Araki?
your time is up, so
Oh, okay.
I would appreciate it.
Thank
if
you so
we
much for
could-
your time, Mayor, and everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, and
Appreciate
thank
your help for each and everyone for listening our issues. Thank you.
Thank you, please. Feel free to come again. Anyone else wishing to address us, please come forward, name and address for our record, please.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm sorry, I missed the first portion, so I might be asking questions that have already been addressed. But let me start with the affordable housing. Last month, I asked what the actual numbers were for properties that have been delivered in the market rate, and I was told I would have that this month.
I could check with Kevin. He may have that on him. He just stepped out for 1 second to talk to those individuals. I think he may have it with him. And so if we could just wait till he walks back in, I don't want to take your
And
time.
also, last month, Mr. Raynone said something about a deadline for us to submit something, a plan to the state. Is that still out there, or they postponed that now?
Microphone.
Nothing's been postponed. The state law requires us by January 31st to submit what we believe is our prospective need number.
Okay. And who are the people making those decisions for Monroe Township?
The council will make the decision. It's be done by resolution.
Okay, it'll be done by resolution, but prior to that resolution, who was in discussion representing the community in making those decisions? Elected officials, or like who is on the committee to determine what resolution we are going to put forward?
So the answer is it's not a committee. We're required to get a planning report, so we'll have a planning report and we'll present it to council, and council will make the decision.
So planning report, so that means the full planning full
No,
planning?
we have a planner who is going to provide us. Under the state law, we have to have a planning report to support whatever the decision is, and we've hired a planner. They will give us a report. It'll be submitted to council, and council will make the decision. It'll be done right here.
So one person is developing a report to present to the council, so that is the
I don't know
person
how many,
who's-
well, the answer is this isn't, This isn't you put 10 citizens in a room and they decide what the number is kind of exercise. It is a planning exercise. So we have a professional planner who's very experienced and in fact serves as special master in some communities and has done this for 25 years. She'll prepare a report. She's analyzed all of the state's data, and she'll make a recommendation to the council, and the council will make a decision.
And when will the council deliberate that plan? Or
On
will
the
they-
29th. All right, that's
So
our
they're
next
gonna
meeting.
discuss-
Council can only deliberate at a public meeting, so.
Correct.
So that's when they'll deliberate.
Because the deliberation's very rare on this council.
It's not a plan. Can I just interject?
Go ahead.
And I apologize, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's not a plan. It's because the plan will be for June. This is to set a
Number.
That's just to set the number.
set a number.
How we satisfy that number is part of the planning process that you think is more traditionally the way it works, which is that it has to go through the planning board, so there'll be planning board
Well, I think,
hearings.
okay, so here's my objection. My objection is whatever happens in the next round, because what's happening in the first 3 rounds of affordable housing has absolutely affected every citizen in Monroe, every community member, every resident. So to have one person or just a few people making these kinds of decisions, presenting them to the council, that's a number, is that number going to be changed in June? I mean, if you say
No.
that.
No,
so,
but
okay, may I finish, sir?
No, but I need to answer your question, because that number in the last round was set by the court, and the round before that was set by COA. That this legislation actually gives
The
town
municipalities.
the ability to analyze COA, the state's number, and to make a determination.
Okay, so
So
what
the
I'm-
answer is, but this is not one of those. This is not the type of exercise where, well, as I said, you can form a committee of 10 people and they could all vote and say, well, we think 500 is a good number.
Okay,
No,
can
I think 300 is a good number.
Retake my time. I'm not asking 10 citizens necessarily. I'm asking our elected officials to be a clear part, not just read a resolution and vote yes, because that seems to be the pattern. I would ask that all of our representatives read this 43-page affordable housing or fair share and have an open discussion and a deliberation within the public for us to understand what direction you want. You're the elected officials, not the planner, not attorneys, not anybody. We need to know from you, who we trust, to take us into the future. This is going to impact, as it has impacted us for the last 25 years, or 20 years. I think it is important that the citizens, not necessarily to your point, Mr. Raynone, be intimately involved, but we should hear the deliberation. We should hear the reasons why. We should have our elected officials understand the 43 pages of our obligation. I'd ask for just a few more minutes since you gave to others, please. And I think it's very relevant that this be deliberated in public. Otherwise, it seems to me, because I've been coming to these meetings for 20 years, it seems to me that a select few of people who are not elected are making determinations for the future of my community. I've witnessed it, I've seen it, so I'm asking that, and when we did the last master plan, and although I don't like the way it's being turned out, the last master plan was at least exposed to the public, and we had open discussions about affordable housing. You don't want to do it this time, maybe because of time constraints, but the people of this community who are paying for infrastructure, and all of the things that come with not having impact fees to all these developers. The burden becomes on us, so I think we should see how our elected officials are covering us. Thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for your time.
Could I get an answer?
Yeah,
course
you
you
can,
will answer.
and I
You
think
can.
that, and once again, it's a complicated process, and I'm not sure that, I think there's 2 parts to this process. How we establish the number is a planning consulting exercise that has to be, you're shaking your head, but I'm going to tell you a
Okay,
couple of
go
things.
ahead.
The first is, you're not an expert in planning. And the
Correct.
second is that it's a brand-new law, so when you say, no, that's not true, this process has not happened anywhere in the state yet, and it's happening as we go on. So
But
the
affordable
law,
housing, sir, has-
no,
Allow
your
him
time
to-
is now up. Now it's my time to answer.
To finish.
So the fact of the matter is that the state law requires us to have a number that's supported by an expert planner report. And so while we'll deliberate and we can talk about it, there may be parts of that there are some discretion in for the municipality, but we will present that at a council meeting, and the council will take action at a council meeting. Council doesn't take action. Council as a whole doesn't participate. It's the way the form of government works, right? They can't without it being a public meeting. So we're going to do it at a public meeting, and that's the first part. The second part is when you say a plan, that plan is the housing element in the fair share plan, which is an element of the master plan. That's what comes next. So that's the part where there'll be public participation, and we'll have discussions about where projects will go to satisfy that number. But what we're talking about now is establishing a number that we need to fit into our constitutional obligation. And if we decide that what we're going to do is deliberate and say, well, we just can't stand this number, we're going to pick a different number, then what will happen is that number won't stand muster, and you'll end up with the number that's, I believe that, I don't know what you have there.
It's still 750.
If that number is the DCA number, that's what you'll end up with. Or, by the way, some other number that Fair Share Housing might propose. So the answer is that we're talking about two different things, right? That's what we're talking about. And you know, I'm the attorney, and I think I understand affordable housing law as well as most attorneys, given the fact that I was in cases in the first, the second, the third, and this round, and I understand the process as how this legislation got drafted, including the fact that my partner is the sponsor of it. So I think I understand it pretty well. And what it does is it puts us in some respects in control of what we do. But those things take place at council meetings, and you'll be able to come and ask questions. You know, every council meeting we have has a portion at the beginning where you can ask questions about what's on the agenda. This will be on the agenda, and
That's after
council will
the
deliberate.
fact,
This is
sir,
a pretty
and
deliberative body.
My question is, who's the "we"? The "we" that should be making
I
these
believe that
determinations
question.
I haven't
are
said we, I
elected
said
officials.
council. I never
Excuse
said
me,
we.
both of you. I believe that question's been asked and answered. I believe that we are going to terminate this discussion now.
Thank you.
If you wish to discuss when the meeting ends, feel free.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? Yes, please, your name and address for our agenda. For our
Jennifer
record,
Hijack,
sorry.
12 Sycamore Court, Monroe.
I didn't.
Oh, is it not on? Sorry. Jennifer Hijack, 12 Sycamore Court, Monroe. I'm here as part of the pickleball group with Karen. I'm not going to reiterate everything that she said eloquently. And I also sent a detailed email to each and every one of you, council members and the mayor. But I'm not going to take your time reading that, because I think you can do that on your own. However, I just want to ask some questions in regard to how should we go to try to solve this problem. We have tried using the chain of command, going to the people at the rec center office, going to Mary, who is supposedly in charge there. Yes, but she's not hearing us. So we're here to ask, where do we go next? Does she have carte blanche? Is she the mayor of anything recreationally involved in Monroe? We say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I did send this picture to all of you of 2/3 of an empty gym with 4 people trying to play pickleball without a net. But the rec center says we can't use that space because so many people are vying for that space. No one is there. That is our problem. When we tried to take out portable partitions that ping pong uses, we got our hand slapped, and then we got a curtain dropped on us so we couldn't even walk the perimeter. That was our punishment. We are actually being treated like children. When we asked if we can roll out a net till 9:45 and then move when ping pong comes, they said, absolutely not. We've had problems in the past. I was a teacher for 33 years. Every September was a new crop of kids. I didn't tell my new first graders, you can't use scissors because last year's kids cut their hair. They don't want to listen to us. So we are here to put it in public. I call it shenanigans. I don't know what else to do. It makes absolutely no sense. So that was one thing. I just am looking for guidance. I know you want us to be well. I said, you want us to be fit. They want us to quote unquote sit. They are happy watching us look at an empty gym, which is ridiculous. The other part of my question is, I know outdoor courts are coming to Monroe. Is there a time frame as to when? I know the volleyball courts that were promised at the same time the pickleball courts were promised have been put in. What is going on with pickleball? And if and when they go in, will they be restricted to residents only? Because I play at Thompson Park. It is super crowded in prime season, and the Middlesex County Parks and Recreation has now extended. They used to have a permit from May to October to play that you have to pay for evening play, and now it's year-round, 12 months a year to play in the evening. You must pay to play at Thompson Park. So there is no place in the township for us to play for free, except for the rec center in the morning after our $10 membership to there. So I thank you for anything you can do to help keep us fit and stop us from having to sit.
Mr. Mayor, you want
Madam Council President, I'm
Please.
sorry, I should have said something after the first speaker. I was going to wait until the public portion was over to just have some words.
Little off.
So as just a larger picture, greater picture, this just came to my email on Friday. And then, so we did, right, so it just was brought to my attention on Friday, reached out this morning to our business administrator. We are in discussions with the rec department, and we will try to remedy the situation to best suit your wellness needs. So with that being said, there's only one mayor, the bucket mayor right here, okay? So we are all working on it, obviously. As for the outdoor, that was part of the master plan, the recognition of it, that we needed more pickleball courts. It is in the design process as we speak. Timeline, I'm hoping this upcoming year to be put in the budget for the project to be started. So, but the designs I saw, we're getting all the information. They're supposed to be a certain way, so the sun's not in one player's eye. So all of that stuff, we are all aware of it. Did I cover everything?
You covered everything,
Okay.
sir.
Is it going to be township residents only, or?
No. It depends on how
We're
you're
going to have to
funding it.
work on that. We would,
Right.
our goal would be township residents only, so we're going to have to develop a system for how the courts will be used, because this will be somewhat new for us. So we'd be happy to take your information after and have a little bit of a discussion about that. In the past, stuff has generally been used by township residents, but if we see outside folks coming, we're going to have to figure out a reservation system if it's not first come, first serve, or if we see people from outside the town using it. So happy to have that discussion. If you can stay for a minute or two after the meeting, be happy to chat a little bit about that. Also, if you wouldn't mind staying after the meeting, assuming it's ending shortly,
It's
to talk to
ending
Mark a
shortly.
little bit about the design of the pickleball courts, because he's in the middle of designing it. He's designing, I think, 5 of them right now over by the senior center. And hopefully it'll be out to bid, as the mayor said, in a couple of months.
Anyone else wishing to, yes, Mr. Gunkel.
When the
That's
meeting's
okay.
done, or
Mr. Gunkelman, please.
Continuing where I left off before, if I may. 027, entitled amending budget appropriations. What does that consist of? How much money we're talking about? Or what are the amendments, I guess, is what I'm asking. We discussed the transfers at the last meeting, but it's been
Budget
amended.
appropriation transfers, yes.
If I could, Council President, right, so we did do some small transfers at the last meeting. I think it was a total of about $700,000 on the total 2 budgets being, close to $90 million. Most of the transfers were related to the fact that we did our permanent financing after we did our budget, so we had to make sure that we came back around at the end to make sure that we could make our payments. We did put our amount in for our note interest, but we actually put in the wrong amount for the note interest. It was supposed to be $122,000, so we just had to correct that to put the correct note interest in. So it was just sort of I want to say a technical error, but an error nonetheless. So we had to just make sure we had the right number in there for the utility note interest in there, and which was the original reason for the ordinance, which was passed, resolution, which was passed in December, which we do all the time, is to move things around within both the township and utility budget as necessary to, not to expand the budget, but to move things around into different categories. And in this case, the larger issue was moving things over to debt service to reflect the permanent financing that we did in June after the budget was adopted.
So the only change, the amended aspect of this is just a correction?
Related to note interest, as I believe, yes.
Okay, thank you. Going backwards a little bit, shared services agreement between Helmeta and the township. Is there any cost related to this? Are we servicing their, we're going to load trucks for them for free, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, historically, we've been sort of a good neighbor. We've done this with the Board of Education and with Jamesburg. We don't get too much snow in the area, but instead of everyone having to build a salt dome, we've let other people store in our salt dome. We have our employees out there, and they don't use too much salt, but they fill it with salt from time to time. We keep a record of how much salt they have in there, and when they pull up, we already have an employee there. They'll dump salt in their truck. Those are both small entities, whether it be Jamesburg, in this case Helmeta, which is pretty small, and our own Monroe Board of Ed, which is certainly our co-taxpayers. So historically, we haven't really charged them because we're already there. And that's sort of the system that we sort of inherited. So it's sort of like a good neighbor thing that we've always done with Jamesburg, and that we're continuing to do with Helmeta, so they don't have to build their own salt storage facility since we have quite a large one. I think it's a somewhat nominal expense since we're doing it.
Lastly, Council President, I'd like to request for when the township attorney gives us information about where they can find the information for the council people, if someone could pass that on to me so I could try and get a little smarter about the affordable housing.
Affordable housing, the plan that was referenced by a previous resident, yes. That one. Okay, I'm sure we can get that made available for all of us. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council, please?
Oh.
Yes, no, I noticed that he came in. He will not leave without the report that Ms. Arminio wanted. Do you have it with you?
Total number of market rate units and affordable that are completed.
And he does.
I think she was more on the market rate units.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hello, how are you? So we have an 850 affordable housing obligation from round 3. As of right now, we have 309 affordables that are built, which is 36%. And of our market rate obligation there, well, the market rate units that come with that obligation, that's 3,529 total, and we've built 1,252, which is 35%. So the percentages match up as of right now between what's built for affordables and what's built for market rate. Did that answer your question?
You could stay after.
You can stay after. You can stay after and answer your question. Anyone else wishing to address the council, please come forward now. Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close public comment.
Motion.
Thank you. A second on that, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposition. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
Motion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero? Councilman Markell? Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 7:43.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.